Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Two Light-Skinned Brothers with Sense, a show about two light-skinned brothers with sense. My name is Travis.
Dominic Goins. Hey man, gotta get the full name.
Full name?
Full name.
Which full name?
Well, I mean.
Oh, you said your full name.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't ever say my full name. People try to look you up. All right, so this is a new show that we have started, and we can tell you a little bit about how we started it, and then we can try to get into some topics for today. So, the who is us, the what is two light-skinned brothers with sense, and the why.
The why is we saw a need for just a platform to voice the opinions of two light-skinned brothers with sense. We're both married. We have, yeah. Yeah, we're both married, under the age of 30. And I mean, there's a big gap in as far as topics and things that are talked about for our age group. So,
I mean, when you think about it, how many shows on YouTube have two black men who are married? How many times do you see us in the same room together?
Beat the odds, big.
And light skin. That has nothing to do with anything. So before anybody feels the need to have to write us any message about why does it have to be two light skinned brothers, because we're both light skinned. That's why.
Just happened that way. Just happened.
So it doesn't matter. It's not dark skin is bad. It's not brown skin is bad, y'all. It's just who we are. Could have been a bald guy and a guy with hair, but you know that title just didn't work out that well.
My wife says I'm going bald, but I hope not.
Listen, when it's time, just let it go.
I can't, man. I love my hair.
When it's time, you gotta let it go. My hair started going when I was a sophomore in college.
She said it just started thinning about a year ago. I'm kind of scared.
Is it thinning up here in the top?
No, not as far as I know.
So where's it thinning at?
Like, I don't know, on the edges. But I think it's just the way I brush my hair, so.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So, pretty much, yeah, we're just trying to provide something different. Because I know, like you said, we're both married, and there are times when we need help in our situations, and I don't think there are a lot of avenues where the person on the other end looks like us.
Not at all.
This is something for us, pretty much, I guess. So, topics. What we got?
All right, so for the first topic, we got the alligator attack at the Disney resort. A story that's been going on for the past couple weeks. Overall, there was a kid that was taken, or a baby that was taken from a family that was vacationing in Disney, one Disney resort. I can't remember what the name of it was at the moment.
Grand Floridian.
Yeah, and first off, they said that the baby was in a playpen. And the alligator took the baby from the playpen. Yes, it doesn't sound right. So, and what happened was, the alligator took the baby, and this big search started. And once the search started, about a few days later, they found the baby's body intact, and they say that the baby drowned, which of course. But a lot of people are outraged because of the fact that the sign didn't say that there was alligators around.
Yeah, the sign only said no swimming. Now, I'll go ahead and preface and say I'm a Disney fanatic. I thoroughly enjoy Disney World. That's my thing. But just for me personally, I've never gone into any water that said no swimming, because I read no swimming as there's a reason why you're not supposed to be swimming in it in the first place.
Honestly, I barely go swimming at the beach.
And it's a lake, so I mean, I don't swim in lakes.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean, the kid deserved it or anything like that. It's just, no. I can understand though that people want it to say something about alligators. However, also keep in mind it is Florida, and they're kind of known for alligators. And if you see something that says no swimming, I mean, I don't know.
Well, but then again, they were from Nebraska too, so it's not common knowledge for people who are visiting from out of town.
Sure.
So it probably would have been good as a good practice to just have alligators, possible alligators in the water or something like that, but they don't say how far up, the alligator traveled in order to get the baby or anything like that. It just, a lot of details were were left out. But my problem with it was when I heard on the radio the other day that from the Orange County Sheriff, he said, we found the baby's body intact, but we're still searching for the alligator.
Mm-hmm.
Did you tag the alligator?
Well, I had also read they'd already killed, like, euthanized, like, 5 alligators before that.
So, I mean,
because what they're trying to do, they're trying to match up the bite marks on the body to identify the alligator. And I get why, but I don't really think finding the alligator is going to solve it. I guess it's just to provide comfort to the family. I guess it's the same thing as if a person killed somebody and you want the murderer to be brought to justice. I guess, but...
Yeah, weird story. Weird, sad. It
but
is sad.
they said the parents, I wasn't there, but they were saying the parents weren't near him, and they said he was like a foot up to him of water.
Wow.
And they say he was wading in the water. That's
Yeah.
been a consistent thing that I have seen, that he was the only one in the water, and it was at 9 o'clock at night. So, I mean, you got to be careful. I'm not a parent. He is. So that's something we forgot to say earlier.
Yeah. I don't know. Me personally, if I don't swim in a body of water, we'll say that. We'll just call it a body of water. If I don't swim in it, my kid's not getting in it. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. If I'm not willing to get in it, they're not getting in it.
Yeah, but peace and blessings, and rest in peace and condolences to the family of Lane Graves. Well, that was his name.
Mm-hmm.
Disney will never be the same after this, and I hope they're preparing for a lawsuit because it is coming. Interesting, though, that this alligator attack happened a couple weeks after Harambe.
Yes. Yeah.
Even though the little boy didn't die, it's still interesting that we've had 2 big animal attacks within the past month.
And I know this wasn't on our topics, but I mean, even at that it's very coincidental, and the memes have actually been crazy. I mean, sad to say, I have laughed at a few of them. I've laughed at a few of them, but it's very coincidental that it did happen relatively, within the same time period.
So let me ask you this: I've noticed that. Okay, so let's keep it real. The gorilla little boy was black. The alligator attack boy was white. Yes, we know the black boy lived and the white boy passed away. We got that. But I've noticed that people were harsher on the mother of the boy from the gorilla attack than they were on the kid's parents for the alligator attack. And I wondered to myself, does it have to do with race?
Does it have to do with race? A lot of things have to do with race in our society. And honestly, I'm not saying that it is. I'm not going on record saying it is, but it possibly could be. Our reaction compared to their reaction is totally different. So, and plus, for Harambe, in Harambe's case, the kid that got in there, his mother was a mother of what, like 4 or 5, and I think for Lane, that was a mother of 1 or 2. So I mean, it kind of does play somewhat of a bias in there. There definitely was a bias in there because, what happened to Harambe, what happened in Harambe's case, it could have happened to anybody. I mean, you hear, there used to be more stories about this happening to young Caucasian kids than it did black. So, I mean, when I heard the story, I was like, oh, that for real, that's got to be a white kid. It ain't black kid. But then when I saw it, I was like, there we go. This is only one of few that, have started coming up to be like that.
And it's sad, regardless, but I'm just like, it's negligence in general, across the board. But I'm just like, we shouldn't. I don't know. I'm going to save that.
Well, in Harambe's case, I do feel that they could have effectively tranquilized him instead of had to kill him. And since that incident, a lot of zoos have spoken out about how their procedures go as far as being able for something like that happening. And I'm sure in that procedure book has to be, you grab the trank gun first.
But see, I thought I had read that they didn't do that because they said the amount of time it would have taken for it to take effect would have irritated or agitated him more and maybe made him spaz out on the child. Because see, gorillas are huge.
Yeah, and they have giant forearms, and they can smash. They could probably. And I think the kid escaped with like a broken bone or something like that. And
I mean, the way that gorilla was dragging him through that water.
It looked like he was playing me, honestly, but.
I'm saying that, and that's the weird thing because he drug him and then he stood him up, and then he drug him somewhere else. So, but I just thought that was interesting that we had two different families who've gotten blamed in different kind of ways for similar incidents.
Yeah, yeah.
We're not gonna make this about race, so we can move on.
So next we have the Charlotte teen who was recently found. Well, he went on a trip with his church group to the National Whitewater Center here in Charlotte, and somehow he contracted.
I think it was a girl.
Oh, she contracted some sort of
brain-eating
amoeba. Yes, and we were talking about it a little bit off air as far as like how it got there. I don't think you get it by swallowing it, but it travels through.
Has to go up your nose.
Now, I used to be a biology major, so I know a lot of this stuff. And the reason why it happens to eat your brain when it goes through your nose is the fact that your brain is more easily accessible through your nose than, of course, than your stomach, because two different ways, two totally different paths. And if you if you wanted to stick your finger or whatever far enough up your nose, you could actually reach your brain.
I didn't think that was true.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how they there's some sort of disease that happens where they have to like reach up there and slit like a frontal lobe or whatever, and it helps cure some disease. I can't remember what it is right now, but they go through your nose.
The name of the disease, and I'm gonna screw this all up, but I just felt the need to have to say it. The name of the disease is Naegleria fowleri, and it says it's a common brain-eating amoeba. I wanted to pull the article up just so we weren't giving out false information. But it was an 18-year-old. Oh, maybe they haven't released the name. No, it was they say young woman, so that's how I knew it was a girl. And amoebic meningoencephalitis.
Meningoencephalitis.
That. It's kind of, I mean, it's not kind of sad. It's definitely sad. Number one, because I haven't been to the Whitewater Center yet, and I wanted to go, but this kind of has changed my mind.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like, dang, like, you go somewhere to have a good time, and you go underwater for too long, and something goes up your nose. But the thing is, I was reading that it's connected to the Catawba River, so this isn't necessarily, in my opinion, something that could have been blamed on the Whitewater Center.
No, not at all. Especially, we're doing too much in the world today. We're dumping toxic material. We're fracking, which is the extraction of natural gas from the I think the second layer of the Earth's crust, and just trying to get gas. And I mean, it releases all types of things that we have no control over. We don't know about it because we've never done it before, and we continue to pollute our world, honestly. And this is one of the side effects.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
But condolences to her family as well, because I don't think they've released her name. I don't see it in this article.
Did they say where she's from?
Ohio.
Oh. Another visitor.
Not looking good for the home team. All right.
No, not at all. The next topic we got up are the gun laws and how they are tying into the Orlando shooting.
All right, so by now y'all all are aware of everything that's been going on in Orlando. It started, I guess, about maybe a week and a half or so ago. There was a singer who was on The Voice. Her name was Christina Grimmie, I'm not sure how to say. I never heard of her. And she was killed during one of her meet and greets. There was some guy who they're saying was a deranged fan, came up to her and just shot her like 3 or 4 times. And her brother attacked him, and I think they say he shot himself. So, like a murder-suicide type thing. And the next day, because I think that happened on a Friday night, the Saturday night following the Pulse shooting, which is now the worst mass shooting in U.S. history, took place, where... has the number risen from 49? Because they said 50, then they took it down to 49.
I haven't heard since it was about 50 something.
So about 50 people were killed and several other people were injured when a gunman, whose name really isn't important right now, walked into a gay club and shot it up. There's been a lot of talk about his reasonings for doing it. They talked about, on one side, that he was gay himself and had visited this club several times, and I guess maybe had a change of heart and wanted to kill the gays, or that offensive to say the gays?
I don't.
Let us know if that's offensive.
Yeah.
I won't say it anymore.
Yeah.
But kill homosexuals. But then there's another one saying that he was pledging his allegiance to ISIS. So it's just a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, incidents like this, you know, as well as Sandy Hook and all of those kind of things, they tie into the gun issue that I feel like the United States is stuck in and cannot seem to move out of, because you have members of the NRA. It is the NRA, right?
Yes.
The members of the NRA who want to keep their guns. Then you have other people who feel like there's no need for people to have certain kinds of guns. And I think for me,
That's
I
true.
lean more on that side.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one thing to protect yourself, but I don't think people need guns that are typically used in military situations.
Warfare. Yeah, that's absolute. That's excessive.
I don't really think, I don't see the purpose in having something like that and people having such easy access to it, because there was a reporter who went and bought the exact same gun that the killer used in 7 minutes. That's how long it took her to get her hands on one. And at the same time, it's scary.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with y'all. I don't have anxiety issues, but I think constantly all the time, and I worry sometimes about stuff that I know I can't control, to the point where I don't even get to enjoy myself fully sometimes. Like, we went to the movies on Friday of last week, and like initially just sitting in the theater, all I was thinking about was the Arizona thing. Was that Arizona? Denver, where he walked in and just shot at the movie theater. And I'm watching the exit. I'm checking my exits. I'm looking at everybody around. They even got the thing in the preview that says, if you see any suspicious characters, call the front. I'm like, why do I got to think about that when I'm coming to enjoy a movie?
Right, exactly. I mean, it's not safe anymore. It really isn't. I mean, you can be doing anything, and something happened. You don't know what it is. Something happened. I mean, and the people from Denver, they were just watching Batman.
So all these things have tied into this gun debate. I mean, like I said, I don't feel like people need to have certain kinds of weapons, but in the world that we live in today, I understand wanting to protect yourself and your family.
And me personally, I just recently handled a gun for my first time within the past year. And honestly, it took me a little bit to pull the trigger. I'm not gonna lie, because I didn't know what was gonna happen. You know, I didn't have much of a safety training course on it. I mean, the guy just gave me a brief overview of how to unload it, how to reload it, cock it back, and you know, just and that was it. And I just went on. And you know, it was very interesting. It was a very weird feeling, because I'm just sitting there holding it, just like, all right. I was inching until it fired, and I was like, okay. And after that, my hands started shaking, because it's totally new experience, of course. But you know, just to walk into somewhere and you know, and that was just a handgun. I think it was like a 45, 9mm Glock or something like that. And you know, I think that's one of the biggest ones they make, which probably I shouldn't have done on my first tryout, but I did. So, but yeah, it's really sad. I mean, something like this happening. I mean, my little brother-in-law, he's in the military, and because he's under the age of 21, he couldn't handle the handguns. They gave him an assault rifle, but it took smaller bullets. But I mean, if that's the case, wouldn't I give the person with military training better access to it?
Yeah.
But I mean, and you know, just to clarify on the fact that you know the reporter bought the same gun 7 minutes later, what happened to a 3-day waiting period? There's supposed to be a 3-day waiting period before you purchase a gun. It's supposed to be.
I thought about getting a gun, but I'll be honest and say guns make me afraid. They make me nervous.
Well,
because I know what they can do.
Yeah, and with anything, it invites the possibility of you having to use it.
Yeah. But like I said, the world we live in, y'all, is evil. Better get your life right.
They need Jesus.
And a little more than that. But I just, the gun thing, I don't feel like it's gonna be resolved. I try not to be a conspiracy theorist. I really try. But you know, there is also the talk that this was all fake. Not necessarily fake. People actually died, but that it was all set up to get the whole to sway the advantage of people who want to take away guns. So, I mean, really, we will never know because we're just regular people.
Well, and what we need to do is, for real, take back our government. That's what really needs to happen. Because I mean, we were set up on a so-called democracy, where you know, a government of the people, for the people, by the people. But I'm not sure. I'm really not sure on this, but I think this is the way it went because America's gotten lazy over time. That we set out delegates, and the delegates were to represent us. And for time purposes, I'm going to paraphrase, but the delegates were working for the people. And once the people got too busy with day-to-day life, they were like, you know what? We'll give you all the power. You make all the decisions for us, and we'll try and roll with it. And the delegate did what the delegate did and said what the people said and say, all right, they gave me the power to make all the decisions, so I'm going to make this decision, this decision, this decision. And at some point, it got totally out of control. And now we're looking at like, what happened? What happened to us? And, because if we're a democracy, why is there the Republican Party? Why do we have all these different parties that have different views if we're a democracy? And that, for me, that's my take on it. I mean, and the government, of course, is dancing around the issue. They've danced around it with Sandy Hook. They've danced around it with the Denver person. They're going to dance around it for this. Well, I don't know about this one because it's an election year. So it's going to be a hot button topic.
Another reason for it to have happened this year.
Yep.
If it was, fake.
Yeah, I mean, there's conspiracy about 9/11. There's a lot of conspiracy about 9/11.
And see how I watch those videos and I'm like, I probably shouldn't be watching this.
No.
But it makes you think. But we ain't gonna get into all of that. You know what I think it's a conspiracy though? Like, no lie.
What's that?
I think it's a conspiracy that Donald Trump has made it this far.
Oh, big time.
I think.
Big time.
Which makes me wonder, why is it that Hillary would be the one that's going in? Because if Donald Trump is on this side, whoever's on the opposite side is the person that, if this were a conspiracy, that they want in.
Yeah.
So then that makes me wonder what is going on, because there's no reason with as many same thinking people as we have in America for Donald Trump to have made it as far as he's made it.
And the only way that it's not a conspiracy is if the Republican Party got so desperate after such the good job Obama has done in his 2 terms of presidency, that people are looking at more Democrats to be in the presidency. They've gotten so desperate that they will, and this ties into reality shows and everything like that. Everybody loves a good show. So why not have somebody who has no government experience except for filing bankruptcy, selling businesses off, and just trying to keep his assets for himself. Somebody so selfish. Why not have this person go out here and say so many ignorant things, do so many stupid things, and make it this far? It makes no sense. No sense whatsoever.
As 2 light-skinned brothers with sense, it makes no sense to us.
Nope.
I did there. Yeah. What else we got? Is that it?
The last thing I got are sports.
The NBA Finals. I don't watch sports. I'm gonna let him take this part.
I'm gonna pick up where he left off. The NBA Finals. My favorite player that I've been a fan of since he was at St. Vincent St. Mary, LeBron James, number 23, aka King James. Cleveland has finally ended their drought for a championship.
1964, right?
1964. 52 years for any pro sports based out of Cleveland to win a championship. This was the moment I've been waiting for. That wasn't just
basketball, that was just all teams?
All teams based out of there.
How long have they had a team?
Since 1964 at least.
Oh, so they just never won anything, period?
Nothing. Nobody. Baseball, basketball, football. I don't know what else they got, but that's all I got. But yeah, this was the moment I've been waiting for since he entered the league. Well, I waited for him to get his first championship, which he went to Miami to do and come back. But that's besides the point. He promised Cleveland a championship, and he delivered. At one point, I myself, as a Cleveland by way of LeBron fan, I was losing hope because they were down 3-1 to Golden State, and the unbeatable Golden State Warriors. Everybody was going for Steph Curry, the hometown kid. If he was the hometown kid, he'd be in Charlotte, but that's besides the point too. So LeBron James found himself down 3-1, and he was going against a Golden State Warriors team who was without Draymond Green for I don't know why people praise him either, because he's a very dirty player, and they were trying to get him. I'm sorry, Draymond Green.
Okay.
He was a very dirty player. He kicked throughout the NBA Finals. He was kicking people in the nuts.
I saw he used his arm and hit someone in the nuts as well.
No. He probably did. He probably has. I'm sorry, but yeah. So he blatantly kicked people in the nuts and amassed a certain number of technical fouls that would precedent the NBA to suspend you from one game. And a lot of people are saying, oh, well, you know, had he been there, Cleveland wouldn't have won Game 5. Hey, whatever. Sorry, that's his fault. But, like I said, he found himself down 3-1, and he pulled up an MVP. He pulled out an MVP-worthy performance to take Game 5 and Game 6 and finally Game 7. Because Game 7, I was on pins and needles. My wife can tell you. I was on pins and needles. Because at one point in the fourth quarter, they came down to where they were tied, I think 89-89. Mm-hmm. And they were scoreless for 4 minutes. Both teams scoreless for 4 minutes. Cleveland did an awesome job bringing Golden State to play a half-court game. But Kyrie Irving and LeBron James took charge of the team and really pulled it out. Kyrie Irving made the dagger as far as the three-pointer that put them up by 3. And LeBron James sealed it with his 1 free throw, 1 out of 2 free throws that he made. And they brought it home. Congrats, LeBron, King James, and congrats to the city of Cleveland.
Now, like I said, I don't watch sports, and I can't watch them we watched the first 3 quarters, and then we went to sleep. But do you believe the games were rigged?
Do I believe the games were rigged?
Because I'll tell you why I think they were rigged, and I don't have an alliance with either team. I thought it was interesting that, and this is also based on people's conversations, because like I said, I don't watch, that there were so many fouls that should have been called that weren't called, and fouls that shouldn't have been called that were called. Mm-hmm. And then, because I saw one in the final game when the dude with the box came up and like ran into Curry, and they said it was a foul against Curry, and I was like, I don't watch sports, but I don't understand how that's a foul. It really don't make sense to me. You know, maybe it's a sports thing and I just don't know. But the fact that it made it all the way to Game 7, and knowing that these networks make money off of the games.
Very true. As much as I love the game of basketball, I've been playing since I was 5, so I'm 26 now. I've been playing for 21 years. As much as you love the game of basketball, and as much as these NBA players love the game of basketball, it is still a business. It is still a business. I'm not saying that it was rigged, but I mean, yeah, there are some questionable calls sometimes, and in the foul calling, sometimes we call that the refs letting the players play. Mm-hmm. And so there's no official way that a referee should call it except for the basic rules. Mm-hmm. And referees are human. You only have 3 refs. I mean, they sit in somewhat of a triangle pattern to try and catch every angle, but they're human. You can't catch every angle. And I don't think it's a little biased because I was going for LeBron, but you know, I don't think it was rigged, because with Cleveland being down 3-1 in the finals, let's reverse one more series to the Warriors versus Oklahoma City Thunder. The Warriors were down 3-1 and somehow pulled it out and was able to pull it out.
So when you say they were down 3-1, if the Warriors would have won another game, would that have been it?
That would have been it. They had 3 opportunities to close out. So that's why when people say it's rigged, it's like, well, I don't know about that, because they had 3 opportunities to close it out. 3 opportunities. Same with OKC. They had 3 opportunities to close it out. I was actually hoping OKC would take out Golden State, but they didn't. And that's just what happens. But, you know, it's the game of basketball. You know, they have another year. So, congrats.
Congratulations to the Cleveland Cavaliers,
who had their parade today. I watched a little bit of it, but they had like 1.3 million people out there. And because it was so big, no doubt, they shut the city down. I'm sure nobody went to work today because of this.
I mean, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Sports, y'all sports fans, y'all go hard. Where we at? 20, 30? We almost at 30 minutes. Dang, we are. All right, I had another topic in mind, but we might need to just cut this one and do another video.
Okay.
All right, so thank y'all so much for watching the inaugural, right?
Inaugural.
Inaugural. Video of two light-skinned brothers with sense. What we're gonna do is we want to eventually add on a portion where y'all can send us questions and we can respond to it, since we do have sense.
Absolutely.
And help some of y'all without sans sense to help you through your situations. And we're definitely gonna talk about marriage and relationships, because that's something that not that we specialize in, but something that we have experience in.
Experience, best teacher.
Yeah. So thank you. Make sure you like, rate, comment, subscribe, send it to somebody, share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Snapchat, Vine,
Instagram. Instagram.
Yeah.
Google Plus.
Google Plus, any social media platform that you have, and let us know what you thought about this first video.
Please
It won't
do.
hurt our feelings.
Please do. Your feedback will help us so much.
And we'll be talking to y'all later. Peace.